That Great Business Show. Winner, highly commended award. Irish Podcast Awards.
Welcome to episode 191 of That Great Business Show, home of great business tips, insights, and opportunities on every episode, delivered in our commute-friendly package or onboard Aer Lingus long haul, where we are their proud podcast partners. I'm Conal O'Mora in Fortistiach. On this episode, we have something very, very different as we bring you our podcast from the RDI Hub in Killorglin in County Kerry, and we will explain all. Now, we may have found you the world's most impatient man in business. He may not like to be called that, but we'll discuss. And if A-listers are your thing, I think we may have come across one of the world's best connected A-listers. And we have a lady who's going to tell you why being involved in an innovation hub, it doesn't matter where in the world you are. You can be in Killorglin in County Kerry. It's quite unusual, quite amazing, quite brilliant. Unlock the full potential of your business with Mentors Work, Ireland's award-winning, fully government-funded mentoring programme designed to fuel the growth of your business, no matter the sector or size. Mentors Work will help transform your business by providing tailored guidance through one-on-one mentoring sessions, upskilling workshops, as well as networking opportunities. Together with your mentor, you'll also craft a customized 6-month business plan to propel your business forward. Tried and tested and already empowering over 3,000 Irish businesses. Register for free today on mentorswork.ie. Now, joining me are Bertie Murphy of Fexco, Jason P. Rothberg of Zavatar, and Kerry McConnell of the RDI Hub. An avatar, and I will continue, is an icon or a figure representing a particular person in a video game. However, a Zavatar is an image of you that includes all your movements and peculiarities, and I'm going to be discussing that as well. It's bizarre, but it's what's happening at the moment. And as I mentioned, Bertie Murphy is Chief Strategy Officer with worldwide fintech company Fexco, based here in Kerry, where I've just learned they have 1,000 of their 2,600 employees based, and it is a company that has plowed a chunk of money into this tech hub. And as I mentioned, definitely last but not least, Kerry McConnell, who's the boss of marketing at the hub. Do you like being called boss of marketing, Kerry?
Boss of marketing.
I have to go straight to Jason P. Rothberg. The backstory is so wild, nobody's going to believe it. But just tell us beginning some of the A-listers that you actually know. It's not that you know of them, you know them.
Thanks, Colin. First off, I'm so pleased to be here and joining your podcast. You do a great show. So
have you ever listened?
Now let me start to name drop. Really, I'm blessed. I was born into a family that has been in entertainment for a couple generations. My grandfather was a professional violinist in Kiev, actually, before they left the Ukraine. My cousin is a very famous actress by the name of Lisa Bonet, who married a rock star named Lenny Kravitz before he was a rock star. And it was really those two and my Auntie Arlene, Lisa's mother, who kind of got me my start in the industry. But then I married well and became the son-in-law to probably one of my favorite folk rock musicians, a true poet and storyteller, Donovan. And then luck continued to happen. I had a mentor named Steve Bender, who was one of the greats in TV, director, producer. He did the 68 Elvis Comeback and Diana Ross live in Central Park. And he became a father figure to me and kind of taught me the ropes of television. And then I decided after meeting Lenny Kravitz, I don't need TV. I want to do music. And started, kind of carrying his guitar around and had a chance to embarrass myself in front of the likes of David Bowie and Slash and a list of others.
No, keep going. The list. We want the list. I mean, the list is huge.
Well, then I'll bring some of the more relevant, more closer connections, I guess, and the ones I'm really proud of. I had the opportunity to befriend and manage Joe Strummer from The Clash. So I worked many years with him, who introduced me to the guys from the Specials and the English Beat and kind of opened up that whole ska punk world to me and befriended Rat Scabies of the Damned and Durwood Andrews of Gen X. And then, went on to produce acts like Green Day and No Doubt, Silverchair, Ice Cube. I got in the studio with Korn and Mack 10. Yeah, I mean, the list does go. Yeah. And that was all in a 2-year period.
I did say one of the most connected persons I've ever come across. Now, bring it all back home. What are you doing in Killorglin, County Kerry?
Oh, running away from America for sure. I moved here almost 8 years ago, and really my main connection with a lot of these personalities and celebrities was the work that I was doing in charity. Even though I was producing music and films, I made sure that every project I did had a connection to charity. So I did a lot of work with the UN and advised for Archbishop Desmond Tutu for many years, and did a little bit of work for His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, and the Galwig Drukpa. And because of these work, I was able to bring in celebrities to help personify their message and fundraising efforts. And because of that, I kind of feel my path is one of spirituality and one for mankind. And LA had just turned into a very depressing, angry, controversial place to live at the time. Trump was running for president, and there was a huge divide between one side and the other. Everybody just seemed to hate everybody for whatever reason. And then my hometown, Los Angeles, had just become a cesspool of poverty and homelessness, and our politicians were doing nothing about it. And one day I came home with a couple of guns, and my wife at the time.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Neither was I.
Yeah, no, it was very counterculture for myself, and was a shock enough to actually immediately have to sell the guns and pack up my bags, and we moved out of LA.
But why Killorglin, County Kerry? Because there's nothing wrong with Killorglin, County Kerry. It's a gorgeous place. Gosh, I was almost going to get shot there. But I'm just wondering, how did you end up here?
So we moved, actually the first 3 months, I had no idea. We had no idea where we were going to move to. We just wanted to be closer to family, which was, Donovan and Linda, my in-laws, who were really like Ma and Pa to me. So for 3 months we lived there, and then that mother-father feeling was quickly fading, and we realized, well, we better move out before Donovan shoots me or something. So
you had to go.
Yeah. He would have done it. He would have done it peacefully, but it would have been. But we found a gorgeous home in Kenmare. So we moved to Sheen Falls Country Club and just fell in love with Kenmare.
Not a bad choice.
No, it was so lucky, actually. My mother-in-law had a dentist appointment out there, and my wife went, and she said, "This is heaven, let's move." And it was amazing. Being a city boy, I had, these opportunities to connect with Mother Nature. So in Kenmare, my best friend was a deer named QT, and raised a little fox family, and just had this amazing experiences I would have never had. And then I would say a little over a year ago, we actually signed a partnership with Fexco. Bertie Murphy, the CSO, found us.
We will be talking to him in a second.
Yeah, well, he is more important than me, I'll tell you.
When we find out what you're doing here. I'm
here to be closer to him, to be honest. He is the entire reason why I moved here. But also we became part of the RDI Hub, and that the trek from Kenmare to Killorglin was a lot. And then, I was motivated by being asked to leave the house by my ex-wife. So all of that, ended me here in the gorgeous Killorglin area.
Life is here.
Yeah.
Guns and lots of other things. Back to the Zavatar.
Yeah.
It's an avatar with an X.
Yes, like Xerox.
Correct. Or zero, because there's a...
Yes, yes.
Anyway, what is it? Because I have looked at it, read it and all, and it looks to me that you're making a cartoon, were it me, you're making a cartoon of me with all my little foibles, because you say, this is going to sound very funny, that you have social anxiety, the least socially anxious person I've come across, but that you hated Zoom. So you created this thing.
Yeah.
But what is it?
So when I was young, because my cousin, Lisa Bonet, was on The Cosby Show, and she was this incredible actress. So I'm like, oh, that's what I'm gonna be an actor too, And then because of Steve Bender, I got a chance to be on a TV show for Nickelodeon, and I realized at the end of the first series, I was incredibly petrified of being in front of a lens. And so I shifted my entire thought process and career to being behind the artist, being behind the mixing board, and behind the camera. And when the pandemic kicked in, the only work that happened, like everything had shut down. I was managing an artist named Stephanie Rainey here in Cork. She's an incredible artist, and working with guys like Paddy Casey and all kinds of amazing Irish artists. And like everything just shut down. I had 3 films in production. Everything was shut down, and I was devastated. There was just no work. And I would find myself spending most of the day having dance parties with my deer in the backyard.
We'd mark that one down as well.
Oh, I'll send you photos. You got to send the photos. But the only work that was coming in was like webinars. And I can't imagine anything more uncomfortable for myself is to be in front of a camera, staring at myself, talking about myself. That's just a form of torture to me. And so I would turn it down, very nice offers, 400 or 500 euros an hour to do these things. But then I got an offer to do the Cannes Film Festival 2021. And I just couldn't say no. There was producers and directors that I was dying to meet and work for. And what a way to connect with them. So I contacted one of my now partners and good friends. We had been developing an animated film together, and he's a genius with XR. So AR, VR, he's a brilliant technologist. But I said, Gianfranco, I need a real-time reactionary avatar, something that I can dress myself in these Zoom calls and I won't have to look at myself. I'll look at like a superhero figure of my best self, And he's like, yeah, sure. When do you need it? I'm like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. He's like, yeah, we'll do that. And it wasn't a very convincing yes, but I trusted him and confirmed Cannes, and he delivered the first prototype as Avatar. And it was phenomenal, Colin. We went in and I presented, and then I started freaking out because the 50-minute panel, the other panelists spent 12 minutes only talking about my avatar. And I was like, oh my, I'll never invite it back to Cannes. We're not talking about music supervision or a film production. This is horrible. But by the time I got off, I was inundated, several hundred messages through LinkedIn and Instagram saying, how do I get one of these? And I realized that there's other people out there that don't enjoy the Zoom experience, but we have to embrace it.
Enjoy Zoom. Nobody
does.
It's kind of dead.
But you have to do it in this new world of remote working and, to be able to connect with family and friends internationally. It's an incredible tool. But if you can do it in a way where you can kind of have a more fun approach to it. And that was what Zavatar was about.
And that is it, because we have to talk to the other two as well. But I'm telling you, this might be a 2-hour episode. You are bringing this into a chat show.
Yeah.
And it's happening.
Yeah. So we realized quickly that the AI technology that we were developing is actually producing real-time animation. And this was a problem that we were solving for the industry because, as anyone knows, animation is uber expensive and super time consuming. So now we had a way of actually, once you made what we call the puppet, the avatar, the character, that the audio would bring that character to life. And so what better way to market a concept than to have a TV show, right? Why not? Let's make a TV show.
Do you own, or does your group or whoever own the IP on this?
Yeah. So at the same time, during the pandemic, I was so bored. There was an app called Clubhouse at the time.
I remember.
And I was
I read about you on Clubhouse, and I had the exact same feeling. People getting so excited about it, and then it disappeared like a puff of smoke.
Well, because it was the people that populated it. It was just became a cesspool. So there was like, you would go into a room on filmmaking, and then you would be like, yes, we'll get you a Netflix approved director and raise you millions of dollars for your film, but you have to pay us $100,000. And I'm like, oh my God. And then you go into the music rooms and there was like, yeah, we know every A&R guy at every label. You give us 10,000, we'll set up meetings for you. So it was really like, pay to play kind of mentality. To me, it's dream killers. It's like people that just suck the life out of dreamers. And we're so vulnerable as dreamers because we want to believe, we believe in what we're thinking. We believe we have a great idea. And so you become vulnerable. So in response, I created a room that actually for free, no charge, united independent filmmakers who don't have budgets, a real understanding of how to secure good music for their films. And then a collection of independent artists who would just die for an opportunity to have their song placed in a film. And that's what we would do, is we would just connect the two.
And is that alive now?
So no, we actually.
Is Clubhouse allowed?
I don't know actually. I
see it. Yeah,
I haven't been on. I haven't been on for a long time. But
Bertie, finally, have you been made into an avatar?
Sore topic. Don't. Oh, Colin, what have you just done to me?
No, not as of yet.
Could you see yourself?
I come in 3D as opposed to 2D at the moment. Yes. No, I think it's a fabulous opportunity for Zavatar, and I would have knocked across Jason and his involvement in the RDI Hub early on, and
there's a reason for that, because Fexco, this worldwide business with 2,600 people,
correct,
that I was corrected on, that you are getting into crypto, and you were trying to get payment systems into Jason's businesses or Jason's chat shows and things. You're trying to find a dollar somewhere for yourselves in there.
Well, look, for me, it comes from I think being the early mover in an area. It was something I would have picked up at home. My grandfather had a saying, "Always be the first mover." I think he was the first person to own a milking machine in his area.
He probably was also the first person to have coined the phrase, because Silicon Valley is be the first mover.
Yes, so. Very much looking across the way into the RDI Hub, saw Jason and Zavatar and saw what they were doing.
When you met with Jason, did you think this is nuts?
No, absolutely not. I think you got to think, when you look at a business, you think of, well, what's the right to win? So first you've got to understand, well, is there a market? And is there a market for an immersive entertainment experience? Absolutely. And then you look at the cast that Jason has put together in terms of the people supporting him within the business, in terms of his foil facts and his connections. And then you very quickly believe, well, he has the right to win. So I think with that, then I got to thinking about, well, how are payments going to work in the metaverse? And what's super interesting, if you look at one of our most innovative businesses today, and it's an area where we're being quite successful, is cruise ships.
When you say you're talking
Fexco, yes. So we've built a payment gateway solution. We call it Open Connect, and we run the payments end to end for 30% of the cruise industry globally. And when you start to think about, well, how does a cruise happen? So the potential customer is probably sitting and watching TV, or maybe they're online and they go to the website and they book a cruise and the payment is accepted, and Fexco facilitates that. And then they go to the ship and they get on the ship. And the ship is an area akin to the metaverse environment. And we take their payment credentials as they get on board, we accredit them, and then they can traverse the ship. They can do lots of different things. They can go to the casino, they can have food and beverage, they can go on excursions, events, all different payment events across that cruise journey, and then they pay on exit. The customer experience is key to that it's frictionless and it's effortless and easy. And obviously there's high standards as well. In terms of payment industry standards and things that have to be managed in the context of that as well. And I got to thinking about that in the context of the metaverse and how that type of solution could solve for payments in the metaverse environment as well. And it's quite interesting when you think about different revolutions that happen. I firmly believe metaverse and immersive entertainment and experiences is a revolution that's coming. And payments is going to be part of that. And that's somewhere Fexco want to pay.
And if you don't understand metaverse and all of that, look it up. Because we could spend a couple of years trying to explain it, because I certainly don't understand it. Kerry, when you met with Jason P. Rothberg, what did you think? First of all, when you see that, I mean, Bertie just mentioned the file of facts. I mean, there's no file of facts big enough for the names that he's just mentioned. What did you make of them?
I think the energy is insane. Come on, you're on a Zoom call and somebody shouts across the Zoom call, "Kerry, you're a goddess." You don't get that in Ireland, so I love it. Yeah, keep talking to me. Fantastic energy. I met Jason very early on in the RDI Hub, so I think I was one of the first people that you met here back in 2021, I think. Mm-hmm. And I was just fascinated by the stories and fascinated by the idea of the panel at the Cannes Film Festival. And when I met Jason first, it was just so much energy and there was so much happening. And I was like, okay, this is like trying to drink from a fire hydrant. There's just so much going on here. You've got to slow this way down. So I suppose we sat and we did a bit of work together in terms of kind of separating out the stories.
No, you helped us tell our story, actually.
There was the Sync Report, which was the podcast, and then there was the Zavatar Avatars, and there's all these extra projects which were going on. So I was like, okay, whoa, is that a Zavatar project or is that a Sync Report project? So I was fascinated by all of the activity, and what I loved was you had a vision and you stuck to it, and you're like, this is going to work. People don't understand me yet, but I'm ahead of my time and I'm going to make this happen. And I loved that. And it's amazing seeing the journey and your story arc over the past 2 or 3 years. So I'm so excited for it. It's great.
Do you know what I love? It's pure Los Angeles, pure Hollywood, based in Killorglin, County Kerry. Like when you have an innovation hub, be it here or be it elsewhere, you don't know who's going to come in the door.
This place is amazing, though. That's the beauty of the RDI Hub. We're based in Kerry, but we very much got an international flavour. Now, we've got a 21 million euro building, which is cutting edge.
It is about beautiful, may I say. It really is. It's gorgeous. It's very state-of-the-art.
It is absolutely incredible. You name it, we've got it. Cutting edge tech here in Kerry. But as I say, we're based in the regions, but we've also got, as I say, an international presence because we've got members, over 60 members now. We've members from the US, we've members from the UK, from Hong Kong, all over.
Talk to me about the US ones. How are they finding you? How do they come across you?
Well, Jason's one of them.
Oh, okay. But I mean, do you have people in the States who are virtual members here?
Yes, we have one member, Deborah Shull from Cultural Roadmap, and she is a virtual member and she comes over for a couple of months every year. She dials in. We've got our virtual hub, which we only launched a couple of weeks ago. We're very excited by that. And for people who can't physically come to the space and be a member, you can be a virtual member. So you dial onto our portal, you pay your subscription, and you get access to our mentors, you get access to training, to online events. And we it's not just an online portal, we've got the dreaded Zoom calls once a week.
You have got to name check one of your mentors, who's a friend of mine, who may have started this podcast with me. Mr. Jamie Heaslip is one of your mentors.
Jamie is one of our mentors on our online portal. Yes, we're very lucky. We've access to such a suite of mentors. We've got mentors all over the
I thought you were going to say such sweet mentors.
That's it.
I could land myself in an awful lot of trouble there. Jamie is amazing. That is grand, as are all of our mentors. We're very lucky. We've got a great panel of mentors from Fexco and all throughout our other partners, MTU and Kerry County Council, and throughout the wider ecosystem. People are brilliant. And people are so good to give forward, not even to give back. And there's a great sense of
great Silicon Valley term, to give forward. And for those who don't understand, that is pay it now and you get it back, or a bit of karma stuff there. I'm going to have to take a quick break because then I want to know more about why Fexco is involved here. And believe me, there is a self-interest in it as well. We'll take a quick break.
That Great Business Show.
In business, controlling costs is essential. That includes your business fleet's fuel costs. Maxall, a family-owned business since 1920, are big supporters of That Great Business Show. Maxall fuel cards offer tailored solutions for transport fleets of all sizes, delivering efficient fuel cost management for your business at over 700 service stations nationwide. The Maxall dedicated fuel card team wants to hear from you at maxall.ie/fuel cards.
De facto, the revolutionary shaving oil, changing the face of shaving. For the smoothest shave of your life, just add water. No more lathering up or cleaning up afterward. Just add a few drops of water and you're ready to go. De facto's blend of all natural oils hydrates and protects your skin. Perfect for all skin types and lasts so much longer than traditional foams or gels. De facto, a shaving revolution. Just add water. Available from selected pharmacies and from defactoshave.com.
And I am back on episode 191 of That Great Business Show. And if you haven't heard Jason P. Rothberg for the last 20-odd minutes, 25 minutes maybe, go back and listen because it's a bit, it's right out there. And we also have Kerry McConnell and we have Bertie Murphy. Because Bertie, I'm coming to you again about Fexco. Fexco is a hard-nosed business. So you're doing this You're putting your money. How much money, or am I allowed to ask, how much money did you physically put into this absolutely gorgeous building?
I think the original building was 21 million was the spend.
But did Fexco pay all of that? I think, did you? Oh, geez, I thought actually there were other outside investors. That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, yes. I think there's two sides to the building though. So
as your HQ, isn't it?
we have the other side, which is our technology and innovation teams sit over there, co-located alongside the RDI Hub here.
And your interest in the RDI Hub, when I say you, Fexco again, is what? You are looking to extract something.
So if we go back to the origins, so Brian McCarthy, our founder, was very much focused on innovation. And innovation is a thread that runs through Fexco from the beginning, right? It's a key part of our DNA. So his vision for the hub was to create new scaling businesses in the region that could bring prosperity and jobs and investment into the region. So when he started out, it was about building an innovation ecosystem that would foster that. So if you think about the elements of the ecosystem, then fabulous building, the programs, the mentorship, the support, getting involved with organizations like Enterprise Ireland support us here in terms of our entrepreneurs and their journey. And then that co-location alongside Fexco allows us to feed and take from the hub as well and work with some of the companies within the hub. So I gave the example of Zabatar. Another good example in recent weeks has been Graphite Note, who are an AI and machine learning platform.
Who have been on the podcast.
Yes. So we would have worked, we've a business called PACE, the Platform for Analysing Carbon Emissions in Aviation. It's a scaling business. We track every single commercial flight globally and work out the emissions profile for that flight from fleet to seat is the analogy we use. So we have a large data set and we wanted some work done on that data set to understand which flights compared well versus alternate flights on similar routes for emissions at a seat level. And the team at Graphite Note are experts in large data sets and on pulling them apart and interrogating them and deriving insights from them. So Hervé and the team would have worked with us to facilitate that. And we put out a really interesting thought leadership piece a few weeks ago around that.
And how do you monetize? How does Fexco monetize that?
It's well, I guess that's part of the journey of the business, right? So for us, that's about building the profile of a business for us. It's about tapping into skills and challenging our thinking as well. And, you know, having a perspective on innovation. So we can coexist with businesses where we're adjacent in the value chain. Metaverse and payments is a good example that we just talked to. Similarly with Graphite Note, where they're AI ML experts and they're focused on that as their core skill set. And we're able to tap into that expertise and use it in our business as well and challenge ourselves.
So you are Fexco's Chief Strategy Officer. So what is the strategy? You can whisper it. Just tell us, what's the future for Fexco?
Well, the future has three distinct areas for us. So payments is the key element
But that's
of our
what
business.
that is what the business is.
That's the core DNA of the business and the history of it. We're continuing to focus on innovating our product set in that area, and we're focused on organic growth as well. Business services is another large area of the business.
And what does that mean now to me, business services?
So we have a couple of businesses within that area. So we have a managed and advisory services business here in Ireland, and we have a number of property services businesses internationally as well, right? In that area.
Property services, as
Correct.
in construction property, or what kind of property?
No, managing estates of property or apartment blocks. Yeah. So we have a large scale business down in Australia. We have a number of businesses in the UK in that area.
Okay, those are two. And what's the third?
So the third one is new ventures, right? So that's all about innovation. So there's two aspects to new ventures for us. There is co-creation, which is building new products and services and commercializing them and bringing to market. And the RDI Hub is the other core part of new ventures in our strategy in terms of execution. So the RDI Hub is a key facet for us in terms of, I guess, exposure to new businesses, trying new things. How can we coexist? How can we work with them? And it also acts as maybe another good use case, a business called Kudos, which was set up by Paul Rainey, which was a spin out from Fexco. So this business is in the connected gift card space. So it solves for the problem of where a customer today, when they get a gift card, is not connected to the merchant. And they're trying to build that connection so they can be marketed to, offered, and brought in to use their gift card at certain times, maybe when a business is not as busy as other times.
This place is rocking with innovation. Kerry,
Yes.
you're nodding at me. Tell me more, because I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Jason in a second with another question, which is related to this. So, how many people have you got here?
Over 60 members have been part of the hub since we started 4 years ago.
And every type of industry or business, or is it like hardcore tech?
It's not. It's sector agnostic, which is the beauty of it. So we've got members from all different verticals, which is fantastic because...
You know, you're talking in cliches now. All different verticals.
All different verticals. Well, we've got...
They do everything.
We do everything. We innovate across all different industries. We have construction, we've got logistics, we've got fintech, we've got AI and Metaverse. You name it, we've got it. And we describe this as, sorry to use more jargon, but a co-innovation space. So it's not a hot desking hub. So basically it's where corporates, SMEs and startups come together. They learn from each other. They get incredible mentoring and support and basically grow their businesses from the hub in a co-innovation space.
Jason, I've been waiting to ask you this when I was thinking of what Bertie was saying there. Have you come across that your business is so far out there that I can't even get my head around it. Have you found anything in the hub or people in the hub or people who've come through the hub that you said, oh my God, that's a business? You don't have to name them. I'm just thinking.
Honestly, every time we have a gathering or we get a chance to meet with each other, I'm always blown away, not just by the creative ideas of the businesses, but the people behind them. You know, it's funny because you were like, you know, how did I end up here in Killorglin? Well, it's amazing the level of talent and genius in this area is as saturated as it would be in Los Angeles or New York for me. It's that was really what impressed me about the area.
But LA is full of dreamers as well. I mean, this place must be full of dreamers. The fellas with brains and women, I always add, of brains just going somewhere else, and I love them.
Yeah, but you know, where does innovation start? With a dream.
Yeah,
you know. And that's really, and on top of that, and, you know, I'm going to force you to ask me my own question. You know, what have I got from being in this relationship with RDI and Fexco? I mean,
Jason, can I ask you, what have you got out of this relationship?
I'm so glad you asked that. You know, this was one point I wanted to hit home. I truly don't believe Zavatar would have had liftoff any other location than here. We have been, the relationship with Fexco not only gave us the solution, our fintech solution, which is so vital when you're dealing with something like the metaverse and making an even playing field monetarily when people are coming in from all places around the world. But beyond that, you know, for me personally and my two partners, Kevin Sharpley and Gianfranco Bianchi, you know, our cybersecurity, our antisocial guardrails of making sure that when we create this public forum, that people are protected, unlike many social media platforms out there where for some reason they just don't care. But if
I'm going to ask you, why do they not care?
Because they can get away with it. It's until there's regulations.
It's destroying their own business. It's nonsense.
But look at how much money they're making. Do they care?
Yeah.
I mean, this is the sad thing is when you're making billions and trillions of dollars and you have so much, you know, traffic. I mean, could you imagine going to Disneyland and not having security? I mean, it just wouldn't happen.
Lovely analogy.
Yeah.
Lovely analogy.
Why would we not have that online as well? And, you know, being someone that deals with...
You were talking about zillions and billions there. So obviously you're in business. And what's the dream? Billions or are you into trillions?
So, well, first, the dream is is really to bring peace and unity and connectivity in a positive manner. The money would follow that, I think. But yeah, the money would be quite a big figure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is the word nice?
Yeah. And I think when you are in that kind of a position and the earning potential would be, and you pass billions quickly, you have I think there is some kind of moral code that makes you need to give back and assure that what you're creating isn't going to pollute the waters.
Jason, you're an old hippie.
Oh, I'm such a hippie. Completely. I do my transcendental meditation twice a day. My candles I light when anyone gets sick or I need positive energy. Incense are going. I tell everyone I love them and hug them. The first time I met Bertie, I wrapped myself around him and I thought he was going to have a heart attack.
Bertie, I don't think you'd be a huggy type of person, would you be?
Don't think so. I'm okay.
He's a good hugger. He's a good hugger.
I have got to ask, because do you know what you haven't done to him? You haven't calmed him down. I was looking at a Bertie interview online yesterday, and he said he was the world's most, well, he didn't say this, I said it for him, that he was the world's most impatient man. He said he had no patience at all. You want to get everything done yesterday, but you said you were trying to calm down. Were you not talking to Jason about it and get a few candles and a few tips from him?
No, my Zen probably isn't as good as Jason's, to be fair, but getting there, still working on it, still working.
Now I'm going to cut in again. I have to hog all the airtime on this show. Bertie Murphy has been one of my greatest mentors, but he plays a very father figure, even though I think I'm older than him, to me, where he's balanced. When I need support and nurturing and that coach, he's there. When I'm feeling down and sad, there's not a bigger foot that goes up my bum. So yeah, he's
so young. He's never heard of all those rock stars that you hang on.
Yeah, I'm constantly telling him because we're booking things on the show.
He looks about 21.
We're booking things on the TV show. I'm like, oh man, we just got Logic and we got Cool Moti, and we're like, so now I was like, well, now next week we have William Shatner coming in, and I'm like, well, maybe he'll recognize that, but it's not an age thing, It's like he's just not so in touch with popular culture.
When he is.
Burn.
I'm going to pay for that later, I think.
We will have to start ending this very soon, but I have to say or ask Jason, when is the TV show happening?
Yes, so the show's launching September 2023.
And it's going to be on real live TV in the States, but I also saw that you're making it accessible around the world. You're telling people how to use VPNs and stuff like that.
So what's really cool about this is the show is really cross-platform. So with technology, anything that is new takes time to adapt and build trust with. And because I think, the players out there right now with Metaverse and cryptocurrencies, where there's been a lot of shortcomings and mistruths out there. So what we've decided, we use celebrities to kind of bring that spotlight onto what we're doing, but then traditional media, which is terrestrial broadcast television, and we've actually secured 2 network TV deals in America. About to sign our 3rd one. We're on Ovation TV and Up Entertainment. And negotiating with 2 more, but very close to signing our 3rd. So we'll actually have.
Sorry. What is that 3rd one?
Yeah, I'll make sure first, and then So
all right.
Yeah.
2 questions. Do you have to pay your celebrity guests?
So we are a SAG show. So you pay SAG wages, which are
SAG.
Yeah, SAGs, the Screen Actors Guild.
But of course.
Yeah. So it's quite a disgraceful fee. In fact, I've had a lot of artists come back going, that's ridiculous. But
sorry, do you pay your big stars big money? No, yes, no.
$350.
Okay, no. So, but they're still doing it.
Well, they're doing it because I think of the innovation, and that's the other side, is that if once you watch the show on TV or you hear it on the radio simulcast, then you can actually go to your phone, your tablet, your computer, your VR headset, and enter into this world, walk in the footsteps of the stories being told by the celebrities. So for example, Daniel Radcliffe is talking about first time in New York and doing a Broadway play. You'll be in New York and you'll be able to go into that theater. You'll be able to play games that are connected to his story. You'll be able to.
But this is all in the future. You haven't done those shows, have you?
No, it's September.
No, but I mean, Daniel Radcliffe's
part of the new season. Yeah.
But if I go in, if I follow him, and if I go, do I go to Broadway and go into the theater with him? Yes.
Yeah. When the show launches, all of these things will be active.
Okay, I can see that I'm going to have to get a further education. My second question, following from that, is the Late Late Show. You may be familiar with it. It's an
love
Irish
it.
chat show.
Yeah.
Are you going to put that onto your Zavatars?
Well, it's interesting because like we're working, especially with record labels and publishers and anyone who has an audio archive. In fact, we've been talking with one of the big national radio stations here in Ireland. But at the moment, we've been producing.
Got a choice of two.
Yeah. But for the moment, we're working with iHeartRadio in America, which is one of the biggest radio networks. Yeah. And we're producing visual content for their radio show. So for me, I've always loved radio. Like, my father would have turned me on.
Visual content for out. We're going to have him back. I could spend another hour talking to you about that.
I would love it. Anytime.
You'll be back.
Yeah.
How are you going to make visual content for radio?
So this is exactly what the avatars do. So once we build your character, and then you have an archive, 191 shows we're talking. Yeah. Those things all are still able to regenerate your character and bring that to life, and then cut away to what you're talking about. So you can see visual examples, whether it's pictures or environments or drone imagery of a location.
Yeah, the judge will know where to find me.
Yeah. Well, no, not if you're in the metaverse. Well, kind of.
I am going to have to, unfortunately, end. But, Jason, you are coming back. I'm going to start. Kerry, final question. Always ask every show, who would Kerry McConnell hire in a heartbeat?
Oh, there is an amazing journalist. Her name is Sadia Nowshin, Nowshin, and she's a journalist for Sifted. And she writes really nice pieces about startup life and kind of founder experiences. So she'd be my hire.
And I follow Sifted. Sifted is a lovely, lovely production in my inbox every morning. I think about 6 a.m. or something.
It's fabulous.
Yeah, exactly. Bertie Murphy of Fexco, who would you hire in a heartbeat?
So the person I'd hire is Stephen O'Sullivan. So he's affectionately known as Steve Fexco. He would have started here in 1984, would have been our IT director over a number of years. There's a famous line, which is they would ask Steve to go off and build a technology solution, and Steve would go into a room, build it, and come out with it built. And
1984. IT didn't exist back then.
An absolute genius, and would have been involved in building all the core platforms that would have supported Fexco scaling globally. So a key person on the journey, and 100% someone I would have loved to hire.
Jason, I'm almost afraid to ask this. Who can you choose from? Who would you hire in a heartbeat?
My answer, although I've been told I'm not allowed to say Bertie Murphy, so
you could hire anybody based on your Rolodex.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, once we have the Rolodex and the bank account, but I think I would probably pick RDI's own Hugh Reynolds. Hugh is a genius, a leader, a wonderful mentor, a super kind guy that doesn't suffer fools. I think he would be a key hire for his avatar if we could ever afford him.
Or is that about affording?
No, the dream. Dreamers, why not?
Because they're hippies just like you. They do it for nothing.
Yeah, well,
what did you say? 350 quid or something?
Yeah, something to write home about.
That was lovely. And that is a lovely end to episode 191 of That Great Business Show. Maxol, a family-owned business since 1920, launched Homegrown at Maxol to support local growing businesses by distributing their product across the Maxol network in the Republic of Ireland. In partnership with Champion Green, Maxol invites local SMEs and startups in the food and drink sector to enter year 2 of the Homegrown at Maxol program. Listen back to previous winners on episode 153 of That Great Business Show. And for more details, see maxol.ie/homegrown. Always great business insights and inspiration. And it's a regular recommendation, and you've just heard it again, to all businesses to find a mentor. Make sure to check out mentorswork.ie, as they say, to unlock the full potential of your business. It's government funded, so it's FREE, and it's designed to fuel the growth of your business, no matter sector or size. And every week we're hearing back from listeners that they are signing up to this great program. So why don't you go for it and do sign up for our email updates at thatgreatbusinessshow.com, and we will send you our own personal copy of the podcast. Share us, like us, give us 5-star reviews. We love it. Contact us anytime on LinkedIn. We recorded this episode at the RDI Hub, and a huge thank you to them. Later on, studio manager Peter Rice and post-production engineer Neil Horner will turn it up to 11. See what I did there, Jason?
Very nice.
So, yeah, to ensure that we remain the world's best-sounding business podcast. So for me, Conal Moran, buchas to you all, agus slán tamam.